He might turn down the light.
No, please. It'll be good for the video.
Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah. You guys send me one.
I don't know where Sue found it. She found it somewhere.
In Orville.
In Orville.
I got one that's yellowish order.
Yeah. For the executive, I imagine. Yeah. Yep. Operation.
Yeah, we can have
We'll get a patch on that. Well, the camel.
Where's Sue and where are they at? So I don't see
They're
them.
in the middle. Over there. They moved a couple times, huh?
No. Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah.
He just left, maybe bathroom left. He just got up. Let's go.
Yeah, and like, I was trying to put up my I took one. I took a back. No, I left. Nobody.
Yeah, I think. I imagine one of you will come back for this one day.
Yeah, I imagine. He's not on that.
No, he's not.
When he played,
Yeah, all time in the league.
yeah, still. Well, he was the last time I knew. Yeah.
They sent running Jim Air, which it's hard. They can't get a pilot, so he said. Last I talked to him, he's been in Salt Lake. He's in Salt Lake like all week, flying their UPS rounds. He's just home on the weekends, and then summertime they're just flying all over the middle port. They get fresh kind of. They can't contain as many pilots as they need, so not all flying all the strips. So any of the more advanced trips, you have to take all those flights.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
It sucks.
That'll wake you up, but you know we're ready to start, right? Welcome to the Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It's a pleasure for us to be able to see so many familiar faces here with us this morning. Thank you for coming out as we celebrate the legacy and achievements of some of our most talented Bengal alumni athletes. It's an honor for the ISU Alumni Association to be able to sponsor this event and this weekend. My name is Ryan Sargent. I'm the Director of Alumni Relations here at Idaho State. But today is one of those very special days on campus because it's a day when we get to recognize the exceptional achievements of some of our most impressive graduates, both on and off the field or court. I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude to the Sports Hall of Fame Selection Committee and for their commitment to ensuring that the ISU Sports Hall of Fame remains a success. Your efforts, your dedication, your commitment to this process is invaluable to the university. I also want to acknowledge the presence of many of our Sports Hall of Famers who have joined us here today. Will you please stand and let us recognize you? Everyone's been inducted previously. Hard work and your achievements is an inspiration to all of us, and this morning we are so proud and excited to induct 6 new Bengal alumni into your ranks, as well as the Voice of the Bengals with the Lifetime Achievement Award. They're outstanding individuals who have made a mark on ISU sports history, and we look forward to celebrating your achievements this weekend. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce to you our MC for the ceremony today, the chairman of the Sports Hall of Fame Committee, Mr. Mike Calley, a Hall of Famer himself. Give Mike a round of applause. Mike get up here, but before we actually turn it over to Mike, I'd like to introduce Dr. Karen Appleby, who's our Vice Provost, for some opening remarks. Dr. Appleby.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Thank you all for joining us this morning. It is truly an honor and a pleasure to be with you all today. Something I hear quite often, and you all might too, is that sport has the power to change lives. As a competitive athlete for my entire life, what I believe is that sport can certainly provide the context for life change, but really it's the people who lead us in sports, the mentors, the coaches, the teammates, the trailblazers, the steadfast supporters, those who guide us and stand beside us through challenges, our successes, our failures, those who we look to for inspiration and motivation, who are the real creators of our transformative life opportunities. So as I was thinking about what I would say to you all this morning, I took some time to reflect on the people who have served in those roles in my life. And I quickly realized, as you can imagine through this emotional reflection, the powerful and long-term impact they had on me, not because they taught me how to play a sport, but because they taught me how to parlay the things that I learned in sport. A motivation to pursue excellence, a strong work ethic, being gracious in both winning and losing, a commitment and loyalty to my team and my teammates. And they taught me how to use those things in my life and my work. The outstanding group of individuals who we're honoring today are those people in the lives of many. Later, Mike will share the individual accomplishments of each of our inductees. So I promise, Mike, I'm not going to steal too much of your thunder, maybe just a tiny little bit. But I have had the opportunity to read each of our inductees' very impressive bios, which gave me just a small glimpse into the impact their many successes and accomplishments have had on our world. And I want to share with you a few brief examples that really stuck out to me about each one of them. Anna Marie Hofstetter, whose success on the soccer field, and then later as a participant in the Ironman Triathlon World Championship, which is amazing, by the way, has parlayed her academic and athletic excellence and interest in health and wellness into a successful medical career focused on helping women live healthier lives. Cassie Merkley, who followed closely in her very successful sister's footsteps, very quickly made her own name as a highly successful heptathlete on our ISU track and field team. She continues this legacy in the classroom where she teaches math, showing her students that girls can be all-American superstars in sport and in math, which I love. Donnell Morgan has devoted his life work to helping mentor, guide, and support young men and women who need strong role models in their lives. As executive director at Elevate Oregon, a nonprofit organization for marginalized youth, Donnell is a driving and inspirational force that helps develop the next generation of leaders who will transform their own communities in those same powerful and positive ways. You'll hear more today about Isaac Mitchell's outstanding athletic accomplishments. He is a true hometown hero who followed in his father's footsteps to become an outstanding Bengal football player. What speaks most about Isaac, however, and I learned this when I read what his teammates had to say about him, is his leadership and outstanding ability to build a positive culture on all of the teams he has ever been a part of. Joe Maddie showed his grit and determination on the football field, and then later used the same grit and determination to engage students in the classroom as a teacher for 38 years. Now, I don't know Joe personally, but if I were to describe him, I might also add fearless to his list of personality traits, because along with teaching students in the classroom, he also taught driver's education. And for that, we're all grateful. Thank you, Joe. We all rely upon Jerry Miller's voice and outstanding commentary to bring ISU and our surrounding high school sports to life. And while it is Jerry's voice that we all have grown to know and to love, what you'll hear more about today is his outstanding and unwavering support of our entire Pocatello community. And last, but certainly not least, after reading Richard Rogers' bio, I felt a common bond with him as a fellow Midwesterner from a large city who journeyed west to find a magical and wonderful place in Pocatello, Idaho. After finding his home both on the football field and in the mountains and rivers of Idaho, Richard devoted his professional life to a work in conservation that will sustain our parklands and our natural environment for all of us to enjoy for years to come. And I could not be more grateful for that work. Each of our inductees has experienced an outstanding level of achievement in both their sport and their lives. All of them have also contributed to their communities, building pathways and traditions of success that have impacted those who have followed in their footsteps. It's truly my honor this morning to welcome all of our inductees. Each of you have made outstanding contributions to ISU varsity sports, and in doing so have enhanced the image and reputation of Idaho State University forever. Thank you, and again, congratulations.
Fabulous job, Dr. Appleby. One thing that I would add is that for those that are talking to people about moving to Idaho, just the Boise area is magical. That's great. It's great to have everyone here today to honor our inductees and celebrate the ISU Sports Hall of Fame Class of 2023. But first, I need to thank Ryan Sargent and the Alumni Office for everything that they helped the selection committee to do and put on this event today. Also to Donna Hayes, Executive Director of the Bengal Athletic Boosters. She has started a function on Friday evenings that is a very nice touch, a social evening where we get an opportunity to all come back together and get to know each other and find out what has happened since you've been here. And then to Casey Felt. I still say that back in 2014, the words to me were, is MC going to be at the induction ceremony this Saturday? Not, will I MC the induction ceremony? Anyway, her script helped me immensely that first year, and I appreciate it. And then to the person that I had the opportunity to follow in the footsteps of, and that is Glenn Alford in emceeing the ceremonies. If anything happened to me right now and I had to leave, Glenn could come up and talk about every single one of these individuals and their accomplishments from memory. If you guys are not friends with Glenn on social media, he writes the best write-up of any basketball and football game that ISU has, so I highly encourage you to do so. The Sports Hall of Fame was established by Athletic Director John Besser for the purpose of recognizing individuals who have made outstanding contributions to ISU, varsity sports, and in doing so, enhanced the image of Idaho State University. The first induction class was in 1959, 6 being inducted that year, names such as Lyle Smith, Ed Sanders, Milton W. Holt. Over the 63 years, 268 Bengals have been inducted into ISU Sports Hall of Fame. Today we have the honor to recognize 7 exceptional Bengals, 6 athletes who excelled on the football field, basketball court, and soccer pitch, as well as 1 individual who is the voice of the Bengals. These 7 individuals, Anna Marie Hofstetter, Joe Maddie, Cassie Markley, Isaac Mitchell, Donnell Morgan, Richard Rogers, and Jerry Miller, each made their Bengal teams better, as well as hurt. They will join a very elite team today, the ISU Sports Hall of Fame. Our first honoree is Anna Marie Hofstetter. Anna Marie, a passionate athlete from a very young age, grew up in Boise along with her older brother Ben. Her supportive parents helped cultivate her love of sports, and Anna Marie went on to attend Timberline High School and then excelled at ISU. In her freshman year, she broke the all-time ISU single game record for assists during that freshman season and was named first team All-American. In addition to her athletic success, Anna Marie was a Big Sky Conference career leader in assists, as well as ISU's first ever honor in soccer as the College Sports Information Director of America, ESPN the magazine, first team academic All-American. Inspired by a medical mission trip, Anna Marie pursued a Bachelor of Science in Microbiology from ISU before taking a gap year to work as a physical therapy aide and transition to triathlon. She later received her medical degree from the University of Nevada, Reno, and completed a residency at the Family Medicine Residency of Idaho in Boise. Now, as a primary care physician at St. Luke's, Anna Marie specializes in women's health and integrative medicine. When she's not caring for her patients, Anna Marie enjoys the outdoors, hiking, biking, being out in the outdoors with her husband and their dog. She credits her intercollegiate athletic experience for improving her well-being, providing a sense of belonging, and teaching her importance, the skills of strong work ethic, balance, and leadership. Anna Marie will always hold ISU of Pocatello close to her heart, as we will with her. Please direct your attention to the screen.
Anna Marie was the epitome of a student athlete. Her ability to balance her workload academically and athletically was absolutely second to none.
She's in so many of the top 10 stat lists, and she was so much fun to watch play.
Anna Marie was a Big Sky Female Scholar Athlete Award winner 4 times during her career here. Was also an ESPN magazine academic All-American.
She was a magician on the soccer field. She had an uncanny knack for beating defenses with inside or outside of her foot, finding seams that no one else even knew were there.
She dominated the midfield. If there was a ball in the air, she was going to get her head on it first.
She held such a high standard, both for herself and her teammates, and that led to a Big Sky championship her freshman year and falling just short of a second one in the championship game her senior year.
Anna Marie was a 3-time all-conference player for Idaho State University women's soccer, and she also helped the team to a conference championship in 2006.
And she had ice in her veins when it came to PKs. She could outguess that goalkeeper without question.
Anna Marie, congratulations. Thank you for all the things you've done for Idaho State and for setting the stage for the success that this program's having today.
Thank you so much for what you have meant to me, and congratulations to all of the Sports Hall of Fame honorees this year.
I wish I could be there today with you. I'm incredibly proud of you, and you deserve this honor more than anything in the world. So congratulations, kiddo. Go Bengals.
Welcome Anna Marie and her husband Kenny to the stage to receive your Hall of Fame pin.
Wow, I didn't realize I'd have to go first, so. What a really really humbling moment for me and a tremendous honor. And Mike, thank you so much for all of the kind words. I have a lot of people to thank. I think first and foremost the university itself and just the community of Pocatello from day one really welcomed me with open arms and gave me the best possible college experience I could have asked for. I want to thank my husband, who we met the summer before my senior year of college soccer, so he's been with me from that time on 12 plus years and has been by my side the entire time. For my parents, Conrad and Lindy, they sacrificed so much for me to get to where I am today. My brother and his family, who unfortunately couldn't make it this weekend, but my brother really, from a young age, instilled that kind of work ethic in me and got me to where I got in soccer. And then obviously coaches, teammates along the way, Allison, Lindsay, and Hideki, you couldn't have asked for better coaches. In order to get to be the career all-time assist leader, obviously I needed some goal scorers, and so just a few names that come to mind: Kylie Quigley, Lauren Ryan, Natalie Graham, just amazing athletes to play alongside. And last but not least, my professors in the classroom. I had so many mentors along the way that really helped shape my career path. Dr. Gene Scaloroni was my career advisor, and I hope he's doing well. I think of him often, and his lab assistant, Devin. So couldn't have asked for a better experience here in Pocatello. Thank you.
Our next honoree is Joe Maddie. Joe was born in Quincy, Massachusetts, and grew up playing every sport he could get his hands on. In 1969, Joe made the bold move across the country to play football at Idaho State University. Joe's determination and hard work paid off, as he not only proved himself on the field, but also helped his team achieve numerous accolades during his time at ISU. Joe graduated in 1974 with a degree in education and went on to have a successful 38-year teaching career, teaching a wide range of subjects, from special education to driver's training, and of course football, as well as physical education and health. With a single season record of 208 tackles in 1973, including a 27-game performance against Northern Arizona, Joe was a key player on the field and an ISU team captain. Joe was selected as the 1973 Big Sky Conference first team All Big Sky Conference linebacker. His hard work and perseverance earned him a full scholarship to play linebacker at just 185 pounds. Only 2 less than me. Joe may have retired from teaching, but his impact on the game and those he has touched will never be forgotten. He sums it up perfectly. Participating in athletics helped me to build character and skills such as self-discipline, hard work, teamwork, perseverance, sacrifice, and respect. Please direct your attention to the screen.
Joe Maddie was an undersized middle linebacker, even for Idaho State, which has had more than its share of small linebackers.
I played football with Joe Maddie for 2 years, 1971 and 1972. Not only were we teammates, but we also became friends.
And he was the only Bengal to be named first team All Big Sky Conference on defense.
Joe Maddie was the glue of our defense. I remember to this day, even 50 years later, him wandering back and forth behind the defensive line, clapping and yelling and making sure the rest of us, being his other defensive teammates, were on the same page as him and ready for the next play.
He was also the most efficient linebacker in school history. He made so many tackles he could be mistaken for a goalie.
Joe was fearless. He was a fearless leader. He was fearless on the football field. and he was fearless at school because he actually taught driver's training.
Hard work, dedication, and never say die attitude made us all better football players and better teammates.
In 1973, he made 208 tackles, which still, 50 years later, is the school record.
It is with great pleasure I welcome you into the Idaho State University Sports Hall of Fame.
Joe, I want to congratulate you on your induction into the Idaho State University Hall of Fame. I can't think of another person who's more deserving than you.
I am proud to welcome Joe Maddie and his record-breaking skills into the ISU Sports Hall of Fame. Welcome, Joe.
Joe, would you please come forward along with Bill Spain and teammates for your pin? Well, it's quite a day. I'd like to start off by thanking everyone here at Idaho State for making this a very memorable experience, one that I will always remember. I also would like to thank the teammates and coaches that I had along the way that really made a difference in my life. My wife and daughter always enjoy this story, so I'm going to take it a little time to tell it. It's not too long, but coming from a little school in Massachusetts, I found myself without a scholarship and was going to pay my first semester and take a chance. My football coach, he thought I could play linebacker somewhere. I didn't know how to play the position. I'd never played standing up, so I was always had my hand in the dirt and my face right next to the defensive or offensive lines. But I flew out here with a big offensive tackle from Brookline, Massachusetts, who had a full scholarship. And when we landed in Pocatello, first of all, like I had never been more than 50 miles from my home. And my mom told me, well, you gotta fly to O'Hare in Chicago, and then you're gonna fly to Denver, and you're gonna go to Salt Lake City, and then you're gonna land in Pocatello. So we landed in Pocatello on a Sunday night at about 7 o'clock, and I really thought they were just stopping to gas up. And Chubbuck wasn't even there. We landed, and all you could see in 360 degrees was the flame on FMC and Simplot. So we were a little concerned. A quarterback from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, who was also a full scholarship, a gentleman came by and he said, we're closing, he said, in 15 minutes. And the player from Harrisburg looked at him and said, airports don't close. And he said, this one closes. So the graduate assistants came and picked us up, and they took us to the dorm. We dropped our things off, and they said, we want to take you out to dinner. And they took us to Tasty Treat. And, it was the first time I had ever tried a space burger. And it was quite a treat. In fact, the quarterback from Harrisburg, when they slid the tater tots and the space burger out, he lifted the screen up and he stuck his head inside and he said, what are these sorry looking things?
quite a person in public college. Like I said, I've been here my whole life and have everything, all kinds of respect for the journey that I traveled, and will never forget it. All the people that helped me along the way. Thank you.
Joe, I'm sure glad that you made that gamble and moved across country. As I said, I played linebacker, and you always try to progress, to be better, and you look through the record book to say, where do I need to be like some of the best that have been here? And Joe Maddie's name was in there, and I'm honored to have chased down some of his records. Our next honoree is Cassie Merkley. Cassie, the youngest of 10 siblings, so that means she's the toughest, made her mark as a track and field athlete when she joined Idaho State University in 2005. Growing up in a family of collegiate athletes, Cassie followed in the footsteps of her 3 older sisters who competed in track at ISU. With a background as a 3-sport high school athlete and inspired by her sister's success in the heptathlon, Cassie honed her skills and won her first heptathlon competition as a sophomore. Attracted by scholarship offer and the presence of other multi-event athletes at ISU, Cassie quickly established herself as one of the best heptathletes in the Big Sky Conference. She earned her first all-conference honors as a freshman, went on to set 5 new school records, and win 4 conference championships as a junior. Despite facing injuries during her final season, Cassie qualified for the NC2A championships and was named an All-American heptathlete. After graduation, Cassie became a high school mathematics teacher and coach, also fearless, where she led the track and field team to district championships and state competitions. Cassie now serves as the head of the math department at Twin Falls High School, and while taking a break from coaching, remains involved in athletics as her schedule allows. Please direct your attention to the screen.
I was lucky enough to coach Miss Cassie Merkley. She was one of the last one of the 4 female Bengal Merkleys that I coached, and what a wonderful opportunity I had.
She checked all of the boxes of the type of person I wanted to add to my team.
That drive and that work ethic that she had as an athlete is a big part of what contributed to her overall success.
She's very motivated, and very competitive, but very understated, and the results just come.
Cassie's heart, her attitude on and off the track, the way she carried herself really embodied what it means to be a Bengal.
She's always been a great team leader in a quiet way.
Cassie is truly deserving of this honor, not just because of all of the accomplishments that she had in track and field while she was at ISU, conference champion, school record holder, All-American, but I think also the things that she's done after she was here as a Bengal.
Cassie, I just want you to know that I am honored to be part of this induction ceremony. I am very proud that I'm one of your friends, and I look forward to crossing paths with you soon.
Cassie, you were so well deserving. I'm so happy for you.
Congratulations, Cassie, on your induction into the ISU Sports Hall of Fame. Go Bengals.
Been inducted into the Hall of Fame. As your older sister, I've always looked up to you and admired you and your talents and abilities. And one of the things that has always stood out to me about you is your ability to have confidence in yourself without having an ego, and your ability to be calm in high pressure situations, and even when you're facing adversity and big challenges. And I think those qualities really helped you be able to excel at the level that you did in this sport. I feel honored to be your sister, and am honored that you would select me to pin you, and I'm sorry that I can't be there in person today to do that and be a part of all the celebration of you. But I want you to know that I'm proud of you, and that I respect you, and just think that you're an example to me and to all future Bengals. I'm currently in Moscow right now, coaching the track and field team at the Big Sky Championships, and hoping that some of them can break some of those records that you set and follow in your footsteps. And I just appreciate you and love you.
As Hillary said, she can't be here today, and so standing in is Deb Paulson. Her daughter Jackie is a Hall of Famer. So if the two of you would come forward.
Well, between my sister making me cry and Dad making me cry, see if I can get through this. I'm very honored for this opportunity. I couldn't be here without my family. You see how amazing my sister is, and so many other of my siblings and my parents are here as well. Growing up in a big family, I'm the 9th of 10 kids, and I was the 4th Bengal. And I learned everything I know from my family. The countless hours that they traveled to come watch meets and basketball games and volleyball games, and I just couldn't ask for a better family to support me. As I mentioned earlier in the press conference, track often gets the idea that this is a very individual sport, but you can't do it without the support of so many people. A couple stories I kind of want to share. The first I think of is my sophomore year. We lost the indoor championship to Weber State by 1 point, and in the world of track and field, that can be the difference of 1/100th of a second, an inch, a half an inch in a jump or a throw. And we were devastated that we had lost that by that 1 point. But we came back strong in the outdoor season, and we were determined to win. And in my sophomore year, we won our first Big Sky Championship out here at Davis Field, actually, which made it even more special. My teammates and I, we just thrived on each other's emotions and each other's successes. And if you don't know much about the heptathlon, I always ask my math students, who knows what a heptathlon is, and almost nobody knows what it is. But you do a series of 7 different events, and everyone has their strengths and their weaknesses, but you go through 2 grueling days of just competition, and everyone's exhausted by the end. But even teams, heptathletes from Weber and Sac State and all the other teams in the conference, we just became a big family, and we just would always thrive on each other. And so I know a lot of my success is not only from my teammates here and the great group that they've brought in of multis, but also those heptathletes from the other schools. And my favorite memory of all time was the cap of my career, my senior year. I had battled some injuries, had qualified for nationals my junior year after breaking a bunch of the records, and everything was great. I was on the biggest high of my life, and went to our conference championship and pulled my quad. And I had already punched a ticket to the NCAA's, but unfortunately I had to pull out from the rest of the conference meet, and eventually was hoping I could get back a couple weeks later to the national meet, but ended up having to pull out of that as well. And it had just been my dream to follow in my sister's footsteps and Jackie's footsteps. Jackie was my coach at the time, and just wanted to get back to that national stage. And after battling injuries, I took a redshirt year and came back my senior year, and the only thing I wanted to do was get to nationals. And didn't quite get up to my same speed and strength for my junior year, but was able to punch a ticket in the heptathlon and the javelin, so more than I expected with 2 events. And I again had my family surrounding me. I had 5 of my older sisters come and travel to the University of Oregon, and they knew how much I hated that 800. It was one of my least favorite events, and it was the last event of the heptathlon, and all I was thinking was don't get dead last and embarrass yourself a little bit. But so my sisters were strategically placed around the track, yelling various things to kind of get me through that. And my very last race, I PR'd in the 800, and just remember collapsing and feeling just accomplished and glad that I had been able to finish. And to add a little cherry on top, that was when I got my All-American status. And I just can remember Jackie in the stands, jumping up and down and screaming, "You did it, you did it, you made the podium," and I had gotten 8th place. And just the sheer emotion from all of that was really moving. And I know a lot of that attributed to the people that came through ISU, Jackie coming through ISU and my sisters coming through ISU. They all just built me up, and that's the community here, and my teammates. And one other thing that I'll say about on the math side, I cried a lot in my math classes, and my professors were so patient and so great. And I still remember Dr. Fisher was the head of the math department, and he probably got sick of me coming to his office with a lot of questions. And one of the most memorable things he taught me was, I remember going to him one day, and I said, why am I taking 400 level math classes? I just want to teach algebra. Like, high school kids are not going to need to know this stuff. And he just taught me a very powerful lesson that I think stuck with me through everything that I learned here at ISU, that you're going to face challenges, and as you overcome those challenges, makes you grow, and that's something that you can share with your students when you are a teacher. And so that's something that I try to teach my students now, is math is hard, and it's hard for a lot of people, but as you overcome those challenges, you can really learn a lot and grow as a person. And so I'm just honored to join so many wonderful athletes and coaches that are in the Hall of Fame. So thank you.
Well, like we told you, she's the toughest student athlete. Thank you for all your efforts, both in the coaching and the teaching realms, and fabulous job in following in the footsteps of Jackie and your sister, and now into the Hall of Fame. Our next honoree, Isaac Mitchell. I'm going to add a little caveat information. I had the privilege of coaching Isaac. There was Rick Street, Joe Haber, Marty Hodge, and myself. We were coaching Hawthorne Junior High at the time. So Isaac's sophomore year. Is Malachi and Cedric in the house? Are they? Did you two stand up? Everything that we're saying about your dad today is true. You might not believe it, but listen up, okay? Glad to have you. But Isaac, I had him as a linebacker, and unfortunately one day Marty and Rick Joe grabbed him over onto the offensive side of the ball, and he found his true place. It wasn't at linebacker, it was at running back, and from his days, the game I remember most was every time he got the ball, it was a touchdown. And it didn't matter whether it was 10 yards, 50 yards, 80 yards, it was a touchdown. So I think he had 800 yards in that single game, at which point I lost him as a linebacker, and he was over on the offensive side. He pursued his football at Pokey High and became an all-region, all-state recipient of honors. And then he moved on to a 4-year career as a letterman for Idaho State Bengals. Isaac left an indelible mark on both Pokey and ISU football. Isaac was not just a great player, but a true team player. He always played for the love of the game and for the love of his teammates. And the community could see that. His accomplishments on the field were never his alone. They belonged to his team. He was a 4-year letterman from 2000 to 2003, with a highlight in 2002 season when he rushed for 968 yards in 10 games and earned second team All Big Sky. In 2003, Isaac broke the school record for the most carries in a single season with 216, and ended ISU career with the 3rd most rushing yards and the 2nd most 100 rushing yard games in school history. Isaac's leadership and work ethic inspired his teammates, and his mental toughness and encouragement helped push the team through those times of adversity. The love and appreciation that Isaac has for the sport of football is contagious and continues to inspire others. After a successful season with the Buffalo Bills in 2004, Isaac returned to Pocatello and has built a successful real estate career. However, his contributions to ISU football will never be forgotten, and today we are proud to induct Isaac Mitchell into the ISU Hall of Fame. Please direct your attention to the screen.
Isaac Mitchell, number 28, better known as Ike. As a former Bengal and a teammate, I just want to say congratulations.
Isaac, congratulations on a brilliant football career at Idaho State University.
I think since we were kids playing Little League football, it was obvious that you had the intangibles to be a great football player. That came to fruition with your stellar career you had with ISU.
You know, Isaac has always shown on the football and off the football field his work ethic, the type of man he is, the type of integrity he has. He's a good friend of mine and a great teammate.
You were a quiet leader and led through your actions, but when you did speak, you commanded the attention of all, from teammates and coaches. Everyone respected what you had to say.
Not only is he tough on the football field and a hard worker and a blue-collar man, but he's also a kind man.
It was an honor to be there with you as a teammate and as a friend. I think this just reflects on who you are as an individual to receive an award like this.
Special teams player of the week, every week, no problem. Switch positions to play something you had never played before, no problem. Play through injury that would sideline many, no problem. We sacrificed records and individual accomplishments and did whatever it took for us to reach our goals as a team, the ultimate teammate.
He ran like a train. His work ethic was so good on and off the field, which led him to be one of the ISU greats.
Congratulations. I think it's really neat that you're able to celebrate this with your family, your kids. And I apologize I can't be there in person to enjoy this special time with you.
This induction is a true testament to you as one of the best players to ever set foot inside Boulder Arena. To say I'm proud to have been your teammate would be the understatement of the century.
Ike, we're so honored to be teammates of yours and to see this honor go to you. Congratulations and go Bengals.
Wow. So, everyone asked, you got a speech? I said, no, I'm just gonna do this thing. Okay, so here it goes, so forgive me, but I want to start off and just say thank you. Thank you to a few people. First off, my parents. They've poured a lot of things for me growing up. And just to be able to play the sports that I love to play. Second off, I want to say, I want to say thanks to thanks to Bruce Barnum. So, playing ball at Pocatello High School, I wasn't highly recruited. I had a good career there at Pocatello High, but no one was recruiting me, and I was a little surprised by it. ISU was in a rebuild with a new coaching program, and Barnum was the only individual that was still on the staff, and he stayed and was still recruiting me. And if it wasn't for Barnum, few instances I wouldn't have been a running back as well. But if it wasn't for Barnum, I don't know if I would have been here. Which leads to a lot of things because how did you all do this? So I ended up getting the scholarship. I ended up signing here, following my dad's footsteps, who played. And I thought I was big man on campus, boys. I thought I was the, and I remember they told me, come up to ISU, work out in the summer. Yeah, no problem, right? So that summer I go up there and I get introduced to Craig Josephs, which I'm sure a lot of you know him, right? I mean, no, yeah, he's enormous. Yeah, I'm a running back. Oh, yeah, cool. And I'm looking at this guy up and down, and then next thing I know, he walks over and gets on the neck machine and he racks the whole thing. And I'm thinking, how am I going to be a running back? It's this guy's racking the machine with the neck, you know. And then I get introduced to Josh Del Prado, which he was not a running back, but he said he was a running back. He was a fullback. And I get done introduced to him. He goes over and sits on the bench and he does a reverse bench grip of 500 pounds. And I'm thinking, I can barely bench 290. And he's a running back? I'm supposed to follow these guys' footsteps? And then we get done working out and I never came back because I was so sore. I was just destroyed and I never came back. But the main reason was because I was dating someone. I was dating a girl that said she would never date a football player. And I'm glad she stuck it out. A couple years later, met the in-laws who were the girlfriend's parents, who I think they heard a story that I had a 5-year-old kid, you know, when I was growing up. Like, I was 18, I got a little kid sister, you know, she's back there, proud of her. But I'd be walking around as an 18-year-old with a 5-year-old, right? You know, no, I guess. But anyway, the stories weren't true. I didn't have a 5-year-old. I did have a kid sister that was growing up to be a successful woman herself. Anyway, so we get done. I get done, and I get into the program that first year, and get introduced to a lot of guys from different communities, different places, and we bonded. I think there's like 22 of us that got recruited in that year, and I remember we sat in the stands during Montana. We were watching offensive linemen run down as we were, redshirt freshmen. Montana had offensive linemen running down on kickoff, and I'm thinking, there is no way I'm going to receive this ball and run up the field against a 300-pounder that's about to murder you, you know. And as we looked at each other in those stands, and we got destroyed that day, but we looked at each other in those stands, we decided to make a pact that this isn't going to happen to us. When it's our time, this isn't going to happen to us. I got asked a question in the press conference is, what do you think would make this team even better? Well, we created a family. We created a group of guys that were there for each other. Yeah, we played for the coaches. We played for the play that was there, but we played for the guy that was right next to us. We bled, we sweated, we teared. And
we ended up, I think, being pretty good at some point in time. Had a couple good years in there. And looking back at, Brett and them saying, I was a leader, but all I did was play ball, play ball, go out there and play ball. And they were the reason I played as hard as I played, is because I didn't want to let them down. And no, I don't have 14 kids. I only got 2. Those are just the adopted. I forgot about that. You guys, yeah, I mean, they're my fan club, but being a hometown kid here, I'm blessed for all the support that I've had throughout my career. I'm blessed for the extended, humble family that has been with me for a long time. So, I think I'm the first one to cry up here. Like this. My greatest moment, they asked me on the sports field or in that press conference, my greatest moment, I said it was about, breaking the all-time rushing touchdown record. But it really was the day we were at the Red Lion, and she said yes. Party. I got it up there on the screen. I think they ended up in the pool with this tuxedo. It was pretty cool. It was pretty fun on that. So, in closing, what I want to say here is I'm not a linebacker, thankfully, because when Brett said, I did whatever I had to do. And I got the start after the Mackey missile was done. I got the start. And then I lost the start because I had some adversity. I fumbled the ball a couple times. Had some adversity. I played 2 games my sophomore year. Then I ended up being a linebacker just because I couldn't stand not being on the field. And I wanted to do whatever it took to be on the field. So I went the rest of the season until the last 2 games of the season where thankfully T-Bell, my man, got hurt. If he wouldn't have got hurt, I would have been linebacker. T-Bell got hurt and they had nobody else. And so I came in and I played, and I looked back at it. I wasn't gonna let that thing go. I wasn't gonna let my passion go. And I went out and I had a couple good games, and then I had the next 2 years at the start. And Troy being an upperclassman, Mike Jones being an upperclassman, they were true teammates, because it wasn't about individuals. It was completely about the team, and we were on to something special those next 2 years. We were on to something real special. Made some of the best friends that I've ever made or have ever had. Sitting here, there she's Big Ed, not here, but some of my best friends that I've ever had is because of Idaho State. So, Idaho State, thank you for what you've given me. Thank you for the support that I've had my whole life here, my parents, my extended family, and kids. All I hope is that you can see from everyone that's going to come up on this stage today that through hard work and dedication, your dreams can come true. And maybe someday you'll be a baller.
Isaac, congratulations, and thank you for building a team, not only on the football field, but in our community and for ISU, so thank you. Our next honoree is Donnell Morgan. Donnell's journey to Idaho State started as an inner city kid who fell in love with basketball at the age of 8. He was an all-state player in high school and earned a full ride scholarship to play for Idaho State in 1993. The 1993-94 season was a landmark year for Donnell and his team. as they won 19 games, became the Big Sky Conference champions, and Donnell was honored as first team All-Big Sky. He had several standout games, including a 31-point, 13-rebound performance against Gonzaga, and a 29-point, 10-rebound game against Eastern Washington. Despite an injury that required surgery, Donnell continued to play with determination and became team captain his senior year. Off the court, Donnell formed strong bonds with his coaches and teammates, who he still communicates with today. After his playing career, Donnell went on to play professionally overseas and eventually became a coach himself. He now coaches at Park Rose High School in Portland, Oregon, and serves as the executive director of a nonprofit that empowers marginalized youth. Donnell attributes his success to his experience in intercollegiate athletics, which taught him how to lead and understand people. It is a testament to his character and dedication that he has continued to make positive impacts on those through his coaching and leadership. Please direct your attention to the screen.
Mr. Donnell Morgan, congratulations on being nominated and accepted into the ISU Hall of Fame.
We both want to congratulate you on your induction to the Idaho State University Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Where we come from, not a lot of people make it out. You've done so and succeeded thereafter. You always give back. You're a true inspiration to me and Lorenzo.
You deserve this award, and I am so proud of you, not only for what you have done since you left Idaho State University, but for what you accomplished when you were here with the Idaho State University basketball team.
Thank you for getting us out of the mud and showing us the way.
You may go by Silky D.
He might. he just might go by Silky D. I don't know what you guys know down there in Idaho. What I'm saying is this gentleman is worthy of this reward.
I remember often Coach Herb Williams saying that a championship team has to have a player who's willing to do the messy work.
Love you. Keep doing what you're doing, and congratulations.
On behalf of me, my family, we are super, completely, utterly proud of how you have carried yourself.
You deserve it, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with you for a couple of days and catching up on all the wonderful things in your life.
Congratulations. Nobody else deserves this more than Donnell Morgan. D. Morgan, love you, man. Love you.
Now, will you come forward along with your friends Lorenzo Rollins and Larry Hike to receive your Hall of Fame pin.
actually watched a movie in this place in 1993, Poetic Justice. Before I get going, I just want to say congratulations to Anna Marie, Joe, Cassie, Isaac, Richard, and Jerry. I'm just honored to go in with a great group of individuals. We were talking yesterday about what this award really is, and it's a character award. And all of you that I got to meet last night and earlier today, and listening to your story, you all example great character, and I'm honored. So let's give a round of applause to I want to say thank you to Ryan, Donna, Brienne. Brienne got a phone call from me probably once a week. So thank you for being patient with me and guiding me through this. Casey, where are you at, Casey? Casey, it's like a mother away from home. I was scared. I mean, it is Idaho. I was scared, and you welcomed me, and I apologize. I never picked my mail up after 1995 when I moved on, but I had to get to Chile real quick. Contract, so I had to get there. So I also want to say a special thank you to James Yazir, aka Bird. What you meant to me and what you still mean to me is bigger than life, man. As an inner city kid, coming to Idaho State, what you represented was success. You showed me what I could be. Once the ball got flat and it didn't bounce anymore. And that happened quicker than you could imagine. So for you to be at those games, sitting right behind me underneath, dunk the ball, man, dunk the ball. It happened. You and Buddy Frazier, I thank you. I appreciate everything that you've done. Words can't even explain it, but you know what you mean to me. I want to say thank you to my two buddies that's here today, Larry Heitch, Lorenzo Rollins. Me and Lorenzo and his brother and my younger brother, the neighborhood friend, we used to play WWF. I think I was, who were we, the Road Warriors? That was our tag team. And we made real live belts. We wrestled fake, had stuff that make you bleed, look like you were bleeding. But childhood friends, I've known him, gosh, since I was 14, 15 years old. Larry Heitch, I've known, wow, forever. When my family moved from New Orleans to Tacoma, Washington, I met his older brother, and of course, he was tagging along with us. And I just want to say thank you for, number one, making this trip here. Number two, always keeping me grounded. I come here, you get celebrated. You get celebrated everywhere you go sometimes, but when I go back home, and I go back to get to hang out with you guys, it means a lot. It means a lot. It represents something that, for me, it's everything. You know how I feel. You guys know how I feel about you. And to pin me today, it's huge. It's huge. So I really, truly appreciate everything you guys have done, what you represent to me. I want to say thank you to my parents, my mom and my stepfather. They couldn't be here today, but the sacrifices that they made for me to be able to do something that I love, it's just it goes without words. And my parents, neither one of them have a college degree, but the one thing that I took from both of them is a work ethic. If I could take a work ethic wherever I went, you were not going to outwork me on the basketball court. You were not going to outwork me in the classroom. I may not have been the biggest and the strongest or the most talented, but you can't test. You can't make up for what's inside of here. And my parents worked overtime. I watched them work. I saw how many hours they put in, the weekends, to give me an opportunity to be standing in front of you all today. So I just want to say thank you to my parents, my two younger brothers. I'm oldest of three, and I just wanted to be an influence. Early 90s, late 80s, gangs was just really taking over our city. Drugs all over the place. So I could have went one or two ways, and I always tell people this all the time. I'm just one decision away from not being at Idaho State. I'm just one decision away from not being alive. So for me to be standing here and to be a positive influence on my two younger brothers, that's where it started. So I'm just very happy that I was able to show them something different. I want to say, Pauline, I know it's going to be over 2 minutes, so I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I talked about it. I want to say, how did I get here? How did I choose Idaho State? And I have to be very transparent with you. All my coaches in my life were white men that believed in me, that wanted me to show me, and wanted me to succeed. But when I looked at the letter and I looked at some things that came in the mail, I saw that the head coach was black. And for me, that meant everything. I wanted to be, if I was going to be successful, if I was going to put in my hard work, it was going to be for someone that had a background similar to me, that could understand me, coming from home, you know, to a foreign place. That represented where I wanted to be. I saw him being successful there. I saw the teammates on the team, my teammates that looked like me, the class sizes, the instructors, people that did not look like me but wanted to see me succeed. And that's just a testament to this institution, the people, and you all made my stay here so enjoyable that I still talk about it to this day. This place is everything to me. So to be honored on this level it's just breath. It's just, I can't put it into words, but Idaho State, you have meant the world to me. Everybody that knows me knows that I went to Idaho State. They know that. And I'm just thankful that I came here. I want to say thank you to my teammates. Jim Potter, probably the best player I've ever played with in my entire life, whether it's an opponent or a teammate. It was just this big old white guy, just bigger than life, man. But he had the best personality that you will ever witness. He welcomed me. Me and him started together for 2 years. We won a ton of games, but it wasn't even about the winning of the games. It was about the bus rides, the plane rides, the hotel stays, all those things that made it so special. Lorenzo Watkins, Chris Daniels, Derek Bowles, Ron Harwell, Shabaka Lands, so many greats. I came back in '99 to finish up my requirements to get my degree. I actually came back from playing overseas, sat my butt in the seat. The Kevin Sweetwines, the Cedric Robinsons, all these young guys that were looking up to me like I was some superstar or something. I mean, I remember Cedric, he wouldn't even talk to me, he was just staring at me. And they're like, man, yeah, you could talk to him. So it was kind of surreal just to be in that moment, to be able to pass the torch on to these young guys to talk about the tradition and what it was like. So it was tremendous. I want to give a shout out to all the fans from Holt Arena. I mean, if you have a program and you flip that thing on the back, there was about 10,000 people, 8,000 people, 7,000 people. We're putting together record fan crowds to come and support and watch us play. That meant the world. I mean, this place was very special. And I know under Pauline's guidance, we're going to get that back. I met some of the great coaches last night, and I feel like we're coming back to where we need to be. Spoke in the press conference about my biggest moment here. As a player, individualized, I was pretty talented, did a lot of great things, but I never did anything one as a team. So we're right there on the doorstep, and we beat Idaho that night, and there was no text messages and all that, but somehow we got word that Weber State lost. That loss meant that we were the regular season champions. And for me, throughout that season, I dislocated my shoulder in a game against Boise State. And that was halfway through the conference to play. So I had to play with a bum shoulder the entire season, for half the season. And just to get to that moment, to win that game, but it was bigger than us because it represented a winner for this town, for this school, for the fans, the alumni, all the people that came before us. That's what it meant. It meant a lot for us to win that game, and that was a big deal for us. In closing, I just want to say thank you. I'm honored. I don't have to prove anything else anymore. I wasn't highly recruited. I went to a community college and came to Idaho State, and that drove me. It drove me to death to be a winner. I don't have to do that anymore. Solidified, they said. Is that what they say, Mr. Bird? I'm solidified now. But I just want to say thank you all. And this has been a tremendous weekend. This is a tremendous honor. And I will see everybody at homecoming next year.
Well, Donnell, thank you for one, the decision, two, the dedication while you're here, and three, the representation that you do in the town of ISU. Congratulations. Our next honoree is Richard Rogers. Rich was born September 2nd, 1954 in Iowa City, Iowa, and spent his formative years playing sports in Van Home, Illinois, and East Moline. He was known as one of the best athletes to ever attend Glen Allen High School, where he excelled in both basketball and football. But it was football that he loved the most. Rich had a passion for the outdoors, hunting and fishing, and was attracted to the West, where he could pursue his interest in attending college. He found his perfect fit at Idaho State University, where he earned a degree in biological sciences with an emphasis in conservation. After graduation, he received the NC2A postgraduate scholarship and went on to earn his master's degree in range conservation from the University of Idaho. Rich had a successful career in the U.S. Forest Service and was known for his determination and professionalism. Despite being diagnosed with cancer in March of 1993, he continued to work with great resolve and was the sole recipient of the United States Forest Service Western Regional Bob Day Award for his accomplishments in range resource management. Unfortunately, Rich lost that block against cancer and passed away in February 1994. As a center, I'm sure he wanted to overcome that one. Today, we honor his legacy and celebrate his achievements, including being a first-team All-Big Sky Conference center in 1975, a team captain in 1975, All-American second-team center, and recipient of the All-American NC2A postgraduate scholarship in 1976. Please direct your attention to the screen.
Rich was a gentleman's gentleman. He was a scholar athlete and one hell of a center.
He not only was tough, but he was also passionate and persistent in everything he did.
That was Rich, expecting 110% whatever he did.
We would fight because every play during a scrimmage, Rich would put a hat on me. It didn't matter what kind of play it was, run or pass. Your dad was always there banging up against me.
If Rich wasn't at practice, in the weight room, or in the library studying, you could find him at his desk in our room at East Hall studying while throwing dumbbells.
Your dad was a baller. Your dad was also the type of scholarship athlete every university wanted. He was successful both on and off the field.
At the end of the senior year, on a team that went 7-3, Rich was named to the first team All-Big Sky Conference at the center position. He was also named as an academic All-American.
What I remember about Rich was his character in all aspects of his life.
I'm glad to participate in this ceremony and really want his family, his wife, his kids, his brother, his grandkids to know what an incredible person he was.
Your dad made me a better football player, better teammate, better leader.
Congratulations on your induction, Rich, and rest in peace, my brother.
Congratulations to Rich for a well-deserved induction into the Idaho State University Sports Hall of Fame.
Congratulations to Rich Rogers for being inducted into the Idaho State University Sports Hall of Fame.
It's my honor to ask Courtney, his daughter, and Trent, his son, to come forward to accept his Hall of Fame.
Where's it going?
There.
Both gonna say a couple things. First off, I just want to thank Idaho State University for everything that everything here today. Everybody was really nice and communicating. I've been back to Pocatello for I think 13 years or so when I went to school. Here, thank all the teammates and all the letters we read. It's very cool to see all that stuff said about our dad. I'm just gonna go ahead and read a poem that my dad always had, and I still have today. If you think you're beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you'd like to win but think you can't, it's almost essentially you won't. If you think you'll lose, you've lost. For out in the world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. Sorry, I inherited his penmanship. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win the prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger and faster man, but sooner or late, the man who wins is the one who thinks he can. Thank you.
So Trent and I, as you can probably tell by looking at him, we inherited a lot of my dad's traits, and one of them was not good at speaking in front of people. So this is about done, I promise. But one thing I did want to do just really quickly is, could I have his teammates that are here, people who have spoken to us, and then the people who came to support him stand up, please, real quickly. I wanted to say a giant thank you to all of you, because I think that what that just proved, and the number of people that are here even after he's gone, proves that it's kind of what we all want to do, to be able to live on, right? And so I think that he left a really amazing legacy behind, and I'm very honored to get to be his daughter in order to carry it on. So thank you all so very much. And Isaac, thank you for starting with the tears a little bit, because it makes me feel a lot better to get emotional here. So thank you all so much.
Courtney and Trent, thank you, and congratulations to the entire Rogers family. I want to point out, if anybody noticed that the way Courtney put on the pin for Trent, she took the back of the thing off and tossed it on the ground, put it in the chest. All right, our next honoree, Jerry Miller. I'm going to start off with Buttercup, Turkey Baster, Stolen Tricycle, Rubber Spatula, and Donkey's Milk. Keep those words in mind. Jerry's contributions to the world of sports and to the ISU community are truly remarkable, and it is my great pleasure to present him with the Lifetime Achievement Award. Jerry's journey in sports broadcasting began at KSL Radio in Salt Lake City, where he served as the sports editor and backup announcer for the Utah Jazz and BYU basketball. He then took over as GM at KISU and began broadcasting ISU games, a role he has continued to serve in over the last 2 decades, calling over 2,150 games now, Jerry. His longevity in this field is a testament to his passion and dedication to sports broadcasting, as well as ISU. Throughout his career, Jerry has worked with numerous talented individuals. Back to my 5 key words there at the beginning. At the end of the football season, men's basketball starts up, and Jerry and Brad would have to, wish you could go home, Jerry, but you can't. He can only be in one place at one time. He can be in Holt Arena for an afternoon football game and then over at Reef for a basketball game in the evening, but he couldn't be in the 2 different cities. So I got a call from Brad and Jerry at a few times, and I had the opportunity to do the color commentary along with Jerry. And Jerry is a true professional. You should see the way that he has his board ready for every game, whether it's football, basketball, softball, all the sports. Anyway, we're down at Cal Poly a couple of years ago. We have a game in which if ISU wins, we're in the big sky. And I went out with all the boosters the night before, and along with a few others, and of course, I got to take on the challenge, right? So I was asked, or challenged, to work in Buttercup, Turkey Baster, Stolen Tricycle, Rubber Spatula, and Donkey's Milk. All into the broadcast, 1 before the game, 1 each quarter. Remember, I'm not the talented one. So anyway, I said, piece of cake. And so, get into the game, and I remember I got the first 2 in, and then I think it was right before halftime. We were talking about the first half recap, and Jerry says, well, what are your thoughts? And I says, it was like rubber spatula on the back of the neck. I said, you're like, what? Well, we got down into the red zone 8, 9 times and came away with only 3 points. He goes, okay. But I think the Donkey's Milk just about put him over the edge. But I still worked that in. All right, so Jerry has worked with numerous talented individuals, including coaches, fellow broadcasters, and players, who have helped make his experience at ISU truly unforgettable. Some of these memorable moments include the 1987 ISU football win, 35-32 over Boise State in Boise. On the 98-yard, Frank Celto returned for a touchdown in the last 2 minutes of the ballgame. The famous 1992 Globe of Death ISU football, the 1994 ISU football rally from behind for a 32-31 win over Boise State. I take that opportunity to say we beat Boise State anytime I can. In that team, Boise State was otherwise unbeaten except in the national championship game. ISU's basketball tournament title in the men's basketball and ISU's game against UNLV in the opening round of the men's NC2A basketball tournament in Salt Lake City. Jerry, we would like to express our gratitude for your unwavering commitment to ISU and for bringing the excitement of the sports to ISU community. Please direct your attention to the screen.
Jerry is being honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award, but really should be the Lifetime Perseverance Award.
I've seldom been happier to do anything than speak on behalf of Jerry Miller's selection to the Idaho State University Sports Hall of Fame.
Jerry had a dream about being a play-by-play broadcaster. Here we are half a century later, and he's achieved that dream.
40 years. That's right, 40 years Jerry Miller has been the soundtrack to ISU athletics.
And he's been the voice of the Bengals for some 2,300 broadcasts of Idaho sports, primarily football and men's basketball, but also women's basketball, soccer, softball, and volleyball.
Jerry's endured a lot. He's broadcast hundreds of games. He's traveled thousands of miles. He's interviewed dozens of grouchy coaches.
Good times, bad times, and bizarre times. Jerry has been there with a degree of professionalism and preparedness that's unmatched.
With positivity, always with a professional approach, and always with loyalty to Idaho State.
He's my very special friend. Welcome to the Sports Hall of Fame, Jerry.
So, to my good friend Jerry, to his wife Roseanne and his family, and an honor well deserved.
So on behalf of everybody connected with Idaho State Broadcasting, congratulations, Jerry, to your family, to yourself. Enjoy the day. Welcome to the Idaho State University Athletic Sports Hall of Fame, and enjoy your retirement, my friend, at the end of the season.
It's only 2 pages. Passing math is still hard for some of us. Actually, everybody else that's been inducted today doesn't have to go to work tonight. But I'm blessed to be able to sit courtside at Reed Gym and call ISU against Eastern, try to end an 18-game win streak by their opponent. And it would be pretty sweet if it happens, and hopefully all of you can be there. First and foremost, I want to thank my family. Roseanne and my kids have paid the price for me to be able to live out my dream, which literally began when I was about 8 years old, and I would go to bed at night with my transistor radio and tune in Dodger baseball on KFI radio out of LA. I grew up on a farm 80 miles north of here, and to be able to listen to Vin Scully paint a picture with words every night, it inspired me, and I actually, before that, heard my first broadcasts on Thanksgiving when I would listen to Lindsey Nelson announce NFL games, always between the Bears and the Lions. Later on, when I was in high school, with a different transistor radio, I started to listen to LA Laker basketball out of LA on KNX with Chick Hearn and Hot Rod Hundley calling those
games. And later, to be able to sit in the forum in Hot Rod Hundley's chair with Chick Hearn right behind me and to announce a Utah Jazz LA Lakers game was a dream come true. I walked out of the LA Forum that day saying to myself, I'll never, ever be able to top this. And I thought that for a while, but after 35 years of calling games for the Bengals, I've topped it. Timing has never been my great suit. I see the Cragthorpes here, and I knew Dave when he was an assistant coach at BYU when I was at KSL. And when I got the job at ISU, it was the year after Dave and the Bengals had won the national championship. Well, as you know, we haven't gotten too close to doing that since. I missed that season by 1 year. But I'm grateful that I've had the opportunity to work with great, great people like Dave. And to Babe Casha for agreeing to have KSEI hire me, to Tom Jewell, Randy Hoffman, Howard Gauthier, Paul Bug, Jeff Tingey, and of course Pauline, who for a handful of years, ever since she has filled the role of athletic director, has begged me to stay for just one more year. It is tempting. To all of the players, all of the athletes, I've seen thousands of athletes on the court, on the field, and they are what it's about. When I put that mic headset on, I don't want it to be about me. This has been a really hard year because everybody keeps asking, how are you feeling? What are your emotions? I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about them. I would be ungrateful if I didn't thank all of the coaches. Also, most ungrateful if I didn't express my love and appreciation for those great men and women who worked in sports information at ISU. Glenn Alford, I know you're here. There you are. I will never, thanks Isaac, I will never be able to express enough love and appreciation for how you took care of me when I first got here. You will be a forever friend, even if our politics never match. I love you forever. The same goes for Frank Mercogliano and Steve Shack and John Match and the myriad others who work behind the scenes to provide me with the information that made it so when I would go on the air, people would think, gosh, he knows so much. They would always say, how can you know all of that? It was the Glenn Alfords and the Franks and the Steves and the Johns and their hard work behind the scenes that gave me all of that information spread out in front of me to be able to tell you how great these Bengal athletes are and how hard they've worked and the milestones that they've achieved and surpassed. My appreciation and love goes out also to those who sat next to me, Mike, not too many times, but working with you wasn't as bad as having a slap on the back of the neck, I can tell you that. Brad Bugger, who pinned me today, who, away from what we do, invited me to his cabin to celebrate my birthday and took me out for a round of golf.
And I think we had steak that night for dinner, sitting on the balcony looking out over Bear Lake. Dave Molitor, maybe one of the greatest golfers that's ever walked through the state of Idaho. Got to tell you a story about Dave. I sleep with a CPAP machine and have done for years. Probably partly because of Dave. We were on I think it was a basketball trip, and we were in Missoula, and Dave and I would room together, and I woke up about 3 in the morning, and Dave is standing next to my bed, pounding me on the head with a pillow because of my snoring. After that night, he brought earplugs whenever we traveled. Mitch Beckstead, a former great linebacker at ISU, has done football with me for the last few years. I learned so much from working with people like Mitch and Mike, former athletes who have actually been out there and played the games. By the way, Mike, wasn't it 28 tackles in a game? 27. In one ISU home game, Mike Kelly had 27 tackles in one game. He was named by Sports Illustrated the College Football Player of the Week that week. How blessed have I been? So many people, as in the press conference today, ask, well, what's the greatest moment you've ever had broadcasting those games? It's impossible to pick, because it isn't necessarily the wins. It's watching these great young people who have worked so hard. Donnell mentioned the bus rides, the airports, the plane trips, eating meals together. I was blessed to be able to do that with Donnell for 1 year. And you get to spend time with those athletes away from the court, away from the field, and see them in ways that nobody else gets to see, or very few people get to see. I have been incredibly blessed. Other people I've worked with include Tim Lewis, Mark Liptak, and the first, Jim Beck. It's a privilege for me to follow in the footsteps of Bill Kalibas and Jim Fox and Larry Eckenrode and Russ Eisenstein. I wouldn't be here. One day in KSL Radio, I was walking through the news wire room and pulled a story off the wire that said Larry Eckenrode, who was the radio announcer for ISU, who I had just met that summer at the Big Sky football meetings, had passed away in his car in Cedar City, Utah on the way home from Los Angeles. One phone call made a difference in my life. I had met Larry. When I read that he had passed away, I thought, I'm going to call and see if they need somebody. Well, I was blessed and they picked me. And here I am after all those years. What a blessing it's been to be the conduit to bring to so many thousand incredible fans like Art and Nikki Berry, who, since my wife and I have moved to Sugar City, have opened their home for us every time we come back to Pocatello to broadcast a game. They've turned the basement into the Miller edition of their no charge, feed us meals. I get to watch TV. I think their screen is about 200 inches, something like that, Art. We love you all. And it's been a ride, 35 years. Tonight's game, just to be exact, is number 2,168 of all of those different. I wouldn't know that except about 6 years ago, Steve Shack asked me to count up how many games I'd done. So I went back through all the years of media guides and schedules and counted up as accurately as I could and wanted to make sure that I underestimated. But with football and men's and women's basketball and softball and soccer and volleyball and even a Big Sky golf tournament, how blessed I've been. Brad, thank you for the column you wrote. You said it was published today. One of my favorite phrases, I use it on every road trip. I'll look at somebody and say, hey, this is living, huh? And it is. It's not about the wins or losses. And I'll repeat what I closed my final football broadcast with and what I mentioned today in the press conference. When my son John, how old were you? 12, 13? I took my son John fishing with me up north of St. Anthony to one of the 4 Sand Creek wildlife ponds. And while we were fishing, I hooked this big, huge trout. And the bobber had disappeared and never came up and never came up and never came up. And finally it came up, and when it did, my pole took off towards the lake. I grabbed it before it got there and set the hook. And when I did that, this fish, this huge rainbow trout, came out of the water. It seemed like with all of the golden aspens on the mountainside miles away, that fish must have been 6 feet in the air if it was a foot. And it was trying to throw that hook, and it came back down with a big splash. And I worked that thing hard to get him up to the bank. And the lake has a real, they build the banks out of dirt and big rocks. And I yelled at John and I said, grab the net and get down there. And he did. He carefully made his way down the rocks. They're not easy to navigate going down. And I got this great big trout right up next to the bank. And John's trying to balance on these 2 different rocks, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of them was a little loose and rocked a little bit. But as he was getting ready to reach down with that net, he lost his balance a little bit, and he reached up quickly and grabbed the line of that pole. And of course, when he did that, it took out the elasticity of the tip of the pole, and just as he did, that trout snapped its body and that fishing line in one motion. And it slowly started to swim away. And John, tried to reach out with the net, but he couldn't reach it. He didn't want to fall in, and I didn't want him to fall in, but I was thinking, how could you do that? That's the biggest fish I will have ever caught, other than a sucker. And he turned around and he started to come back up the rocks, and I could tell that he was pretty bummed about it. His shoulders were sagging, his head was down. I had no idea what I was going to say, but the thought struck me that, Dad, you better be careful. As he got up to me, he said, I'm sorry, Dad. And I looked at him. And I reached out and I put my hands on his shoulders. And I said, John, how did you feel when that fish came out of the water, when we were trying to get it in? I said, wasn't that exciting? And he said, yeah. He says, I've never been so excited. And I said, me too. I was so excited when we were getting that fish close. I said, I said something like, that was real, right? I mean, it was awesome. Why should we let that experience go away just because the fish did? It's about that moment. In my last football broadcast, we got beat by Idaho. I think it was 38-7. Our only score came on a 68-yard flea flicker touchdown pass. And man, was the crowd on its feet when we scored that. The only touchdown we had in the game. It was so awesome. And on the post-game show, I shared that story about my son John fishing. And I said, why should we let the fact that we lost that game destroy the excitement that we had for that touchdown play? That play is why we're here. In every game we play, whether it's a three-point basket, a great no-look pass, whether it's a new record running the 800, a new personal best, Cassie, those are the things why we're here, why we're watching, why we're listening. And all of those things come from those great young people who choose to come here and work their butts off for us as fans. All of you that have ever played sports at ISU that are here today, thank you. Donnell, thank you for the impact you had on my life. And you're right. Watching the character of all of these young athletes in my life has been the highlight of calling games and being associated with ISU. Ryan, thank you, and the Alumni Association. And I don't care if Eastern Washington comes in tonight with an 18-game win streak. As I always say on the air, no matter how far we're behind. So you're saying we've got a chance. Thank you. Jerry, thank you for 4 years of giving us the moment that you talked. All right, so it is my great pleasure at this time that those would stand. Anna Marie Hofstetter, Joe Maddie, Cassie Merkley, Isaac Mitchell, Donnell Morgan, Richard Rogers' family, entire family group, and Jerry Miller. Welcome to the ISU Hall of Fame. Key reminders tonight, game is at 6 p.m. I know some tickets printed earlier at different times. 6 p.m. is the game time. All the inductees, if you would stick around, or right after Pauline finishes closing remarks, we would like to have you come up and we'll give you your plaque and a photo, take a group photo of everyone. And so at this time, I invite Pauline Theros, our Director of Athletics, closing remarks.
Well, thank you. We're almost done here today, and I can't tell you how nerve-wracking it is always to think about closing this day after 7 tremendous inductees, their stories, their friends, everything that you relate to us today about your journey was very, very special, and it makes you very hard to follow, but I will do my best. If you've spent any time around me at all, you know that I believe 100% with my whole heart that I have the best job anywhere. And I'm not talking about the best career, the career of an athletic director. I'm talking about I have the best job as the AD at Idaho State University, at this very special place. That is what I believe, and it is because of athletes and people and your families and all of those who stand behind you who make possible what we do here. This is a special place. So one of the great things that I love to do, the greatest thing about my job, is I get to spend time with these student athletes. I get to come to know them, and I make whatever time I possibly can to spend with them on a sideline, up in the top of Holt Arena, on a bus ride, over coffee or hot chocolate or a soda in the Student Union building, or on a walk. And I get to talk with them about how they're doing and how they're feeling and what's working well and what's not. But the most important thing that I always make sure that I share before they move on from Idaho State is to tell them thank you. Is to tell them thank you for the hours, for the commitment, for the character that was built, revealed, shared. Thank you for giving all of that to us and sharing it with us. It's very important that I get to say that to my Bengals. And for those of you who are here today, I don't know who had that conversation with you or what they said, but it's very important to me that I get to say it today. Anne Marie, how special is it that in this 50th year, this 50th anniversary of Title IX, that we are inducting you, the first women's soccer player ever to be named an ESPN magazine All-American to our Sports Hall of Fame, a woman who serves women, who went on to become a physician, a career that once upon a time wasn't that deep in female talent. It's great that we honor you today. Thank you for showing our student athletes, our young women, what it looks like when a woman leads and excels and fights and shows that grit that we could see. You haven't changed a bit in those photos as we honor you. Thank you for that. You are evidence in the way that you serve others that Bengals can and do and will continue to change the world. Thank you for showing that to our kids. Joe, Maddie, I loved hearing you speak about your story today. I loved it, and I can't tell you how amazing. I thought you were amazing because you were so durable that your record stands 40, 50 years after the last day you played as a Bengal. But I admire the risk that you took, coming thousands of miles from home to Idaho State. And you know what? It wasn't on the promise of a full ride scholarship. It wasn't on any kind of a guarantee. You, to my knowledge, didn't have a $5 million NIL deal. You hear about that sometimes today. You came on the promise of nothing more than an opportunity that you might be able to earn one. You came to Idaho State betting on yourself. I love that. And you won that bet, and you were one of the greatest guys to ever play football at Idaho State. So thank you for placing your trust in Idaho State and for coming so far from home to help us write our story. We are very, very proud of you. Thank you, Joe. Cassie, you stand at the top of a list of very accomplished female track and field athletes, some of them who share your last name. You stand with Olympians and school record holders. Thank you for leading our women's track and field team to its first ever Big Sky Championship. For showing us that we can do that, for showing us who we can be. You've etched your name in the record books in 5 different events. You've won 8 Big Sky Conference championships as an individual. You are an All-American. Giving me the opportunity to tell our student athletes that this is what a Bengal can do. This is what it looks like to be great. Thank you for that. I've heard so many times about your amazing performances. We saw photos of some of them today. But I've also heard that you were a teammate always filled with compassion and resilience and with a deep, great, abiding spirit that you were going to go out and give your best, and that your best was going to be enough. And it certainly was. And I thank you for that, because your light shines brightly through your legacy here at your alma mater. Thank you. And then Isaac. I had the pleasure of watching Isaac Mitchell in his incredible seasons running the ball as a Bengal. And not many people can boast. People boast about chasing Merrill Hodges records. Not many people can boast about breaking a couple of them, but Isaac did. That's what he did. And he's still number 3 all time in the record books as a leading rusher. And I think he's probably only 3rd because sometimes they threw him the ball too, and he made yards that way. And when we consider what's notable about an athletic career, we think about the numbers. We talk about the numbers here today. We write them down. We record them for all eternity. And Isaac's got the numbers. We can all see, we can all read, we can all hear. But as I read through your package and I heard from some of your teammates, the things that they said about you, some of the things we heard today about the kind of a teammate that you are, I want your boys to realize they said things like, Isaac is a man you will tell your children about. In their houses, at their dinner table, they're telling their kids about your dad. They do that because he was a great, fearless, gritty teammate. He was the guy that came at 6 a.m. to do the running back position workout, which was brutal. Sometimes I go watch them for fun. They're so brutal. And then he'd come back all day long while the other position groups came through to encourage his teammates, sometimes to double up and do the workout with them, to help them through. So when he stands here and says, I played for my teammates, that is exactly what he did. And Isaac, thank you. Thank you for choosing to stay in your hometown. Thank you for helping us build a program that right now we're trying to emulate, doing it the way that you did it, the way that you and your teammates did it. At this time, when we want to invest in our Idaho kids, you're somebody we're holding up very high, my friend. Thank you, Isaac. So Donnell Morgan is one of my classmates. Silky D. And our posse, we kind of ruled the school back in the day, huh, Donnell? That was a lot of fun. And it was a great team, and I'm not going to lie, watching Donnell play was amazing. He was so fluid with the ball. I'm pretty sure that's why they called him Silky, just a nose for the basket in the game. And you could tell he had been playing ball since he was very small, and it's his language, man. It was. And it was great to watch him. I love to watch people do whatever it is that is their gift, whatever it is they're good at. And that was watching Donnell play basketball. You know, a Big Sky champion, all Big Sky first team selection, a guy who even with a devastating injury played a tremendous season, and he separated himself from everybody with his talent. Left a miles behind. But then you knew, and it's so obvious now, hearing him speak. You went over 2 minutes, by the way, but I wasn't counting. I was giving him a hard time last night about, let's do 2 minutes. I wouldn't miss a word that he shared today. But he doesn't separate, his talent separates him from people, but he doesn't. He leans into people. He leans into people, and that's what he does now with his organization, Elevate Oregon. He is teaching young kids, young men, young women in bad situations how they can rise above their circumstances and they can take opportunities that are out there for them and have a very good, fulfilling life. So thank you for sharing your gifts now and for all that you shared with us at Idaho State, Donnell. Thank you. I'm really grateful for the legacy that Rich Rogers left at Idaho State. I mean, we know that he was successful, brilliantly so, on the football field. He was an all-conference center at a time when Glenn Alford made it very clear to me the league had the most elite centers in football. So he was really the best of the best. So yeah, he achieved success. But when I sat there today and saw his wonderful children speak about him, not a lot of words, just a few words, but very powerful. It made me feel like I could imagine what Rich was like. And then when I saw half of this room stand up because they were here to honor Rich and his legacy, I thought, man, that's not success. What he achieved was significance. I mean, that means he means something to people. What he taught them means something. The things that his teammates said about him, that is shining brightly even these decades and decades after he's gone. And that's not successful. A lot of people are successful. That, my friend, is achieving significance. I'm glad he achieved it here and that we can point to him as one of the great legends in sports. So thank you, and thank your family, and thank you to your wonderful dad. And then lastly, Jerry. Jerry, I'm really sorry that we left you at a few places on the bus. We were just in a hurry to eat, that kind of thing. But he persevered with us through a few blunders like that over the years. But Jerry has come to be such a good friend. And he has a generosity, a spirit, and a joyfulness, and a gratitude that just oozes out of him in every broadcast, in every conversation. It's there, it's real, it's authentic. And how much of a legend is Jerry Miller, the voice of the Bengals, when the Bengal faithful watching the ESPN Plus broadcast, smoking hot broadcast, looks really good, tune in if you haven't. But when they're listening, watching that broadcast, they turn off the volume and they turn on the radio to hear Jerry's call. That's when you know you are doing it right and you're doing it right. There's something, I think, really special about turning on the radio and hearing the voice of an announcer that you know, that you love, that you trust. That is much bigger than just getting a call. And that's what you mean to people, Jerry. It's more than just about the bouncing of the ball. It's the result of great talent and a lot of dedicated work to prepare. And Jerry does it because what he believes is that the fans and the kids and the coaches deserve those hours. They deserve that work. They deserve that devotion. And he's going to give it to them. And he always, always does. I'm so, so pleased that it is your voice in my ear whenever I listen back and look back over our greatest moments in the last 30 years, Jerry. You mean so much. And I'm not looking forward to having to make a decision about who could possibly replace you, because I don't know if that person exists. So thank you. So to all of you here today, thank you for your time. Thank you for reserving a place in your heart for the Bengals. I know it's there. We are so pleased and honored to occupy it. I feel better. I got to do the most important thing. I got to thank you for what you mean to us, and it's a lot. And I want you to know, I want you to feel it. The Bengals are coming. The Bengals are coming. And so roar, Bengals roar. Thanks for being here.
Good job, Mike Kelly.
Have a great day, everybody.
What's that? What? Stressful. Yeah, you guys did.
I saw that, yeah. Okay. Your cowboy? You're okay.
Thank you. Where'd you get that? What store?
She was the one that said we could adjust accordingly. Because I like Jeff, we're not going to so I didn't want to see them, but it should be better this afternoon or what. I mean, we're working. Yeah, do you want to go to the oh, you want to do that?
Your mom might want to keep it as a keepsake. We got to get pictures of it. I think so, yeah, I want you up there. How about your mom? Good idea to get her in that. Don't forget we got your
Show me. Always a challenge.